Hello, this is George, and I wanted to show you a video today. The title of this video is going to be called Having Fun with the Camarilla Equations. Now, the Camarilla equations plot on an intraday chart using yesterday's data, high, low, I think high and low, maybe close. I'll show you the formulas here in just a moment. But they show the support and resistance overlaid on today's data based off yesterday's data. And as you can see, I think there's 8 lines. Here's support 1, support 2, support 3, support 4, resistance 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what it is the resistance points are usually above the market. So if the market pushes up to that point, it will show some resistance and should pull back. If the market is trading above the support points, if it trades down to the support levels, then it should find some support and it will trade up from there. Now, this is kind of an unusual day, and like I said, this is having fun with Camarilla. This was on October the 6th. The market gapped way down, as you can see, and then throughout the entire day, it worked its way up. And so I'm going to show you how you can use a little toolbox that I created. It's called the Zone Trader Toolbox, and I'll be utilizing it. And that can be purchased from my website at georgepruitt.com. I will give you, no problem, I'll give you the code for the indicators that I have here. Just email me at george.p.pruitt@gmail.com. And I'll give you the indicator that's showing these support and resistance lines. Before we get into it, let me give you the Camarilla equations that are used to plot these lines. And they're very simple equations. I'm pulling this off from my easy language over here. Let's get over to, I could show you that, but that's too defined. Let me just give you the formulas real quick, if I can find them. Here we go. And I'm using any session. I had originally designed this just for the day session of, say, the stock indexes, such as the NASDAQ and the E-mini and the Russell. But someone had requested this to be on a custom session or a 24-hour session. So I've converted the logic to work with that as well. And here are the equations for each resistance and support levels. Okay, and the way I look at this, here's zone 1, and this comes with the indicator. The text will come with the indicators as well. So when you plot this indicator, it'll not only plot the lines, but it also will put the text and put it in the location of each zone. This is a tight zone, as you can tell, and this is based off the prior day's data. Zone 1 top right here is the close of data 2 plus the high of data 2 minus the low of data 2 times 1.1 divided by 2. And I have a zone 1 top and a zone 1 bottom. Zone 1 top, zone 1 bottom. And there's only one tick separating the zone 2 top from the zone 1 bottom. So here's zone 2 top, and here's zone 1 bottom. So there's only one tick separating the lines. So in my nomenclature, what I'll be showing you, I've created my own, I guess you call it your own language. It's a very simple language that you can tell this toolkit to utilize to cause a trade to be executed at one of these zones. So this is the Camarilla equation, and I'm using a data 2 because of a custom session. If we were using just a day session of the S.D, I could just use, as you know, the close D. You could use like close D0, I'm sorry, 1 plus high D1 and so on. But you can't do that if you're using a custom session that goes around midnight. These functions work great, the close D and high D, low D, Open D work great if you're working with just the day session, but in some cases you may not be, so I've made this universal. So I'm using a data 2, which is the same session as data 1. I'm using a custom session here. This is the ES starting at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it goes all the way to, I think, 1600. I'm not going to show you that yet, but it's a custom session, and I did this to actually prove my my modifications to the original toolbox was working properly. Okay, let's get into it. So that's the equations. Like I said, email me and I'll shoot you this indicator that will plot the lines and the text of each zone. Let's go ahead and delete this. You can always pause it and get that if you need it, if you want it, or just email me and I'll give it to you, no problems. So what I want to do first is I want to introduce the zone trader nomenclature. But to do so, I want to generate a trade. The zone trader keeps track of where the market opens in relationship to the zones, and it keeps track of when the market crosses via the close of the bar these different zone levels. So in this case, the market opened, here's zone 7. Well, there's no zone down here, but I don't print the zone, but it's really zone 8 because it's the zone below 7. And then the zone above 1 would be zone 0. Okay, and that 0 goes all the way from here all the way to infinity, and zone 8 goes from this level all the way to 0 or below, or negative if you've got negative data. So this particular day, October the 6th, right? Let's double check. Yep. At 8 o'clock, it opened in zone 8. Remember, zone 8 is below zone 7. So I wanted to buy when the market crossed above the bottom of zone 7, but I only wanted to do that if I didn't want this to be a fake breakout. Initially you'll backfill the gap, and that's what this thing started doing, backfilling the gap pretty quickly, but it failed, as you can tell. So I wanted it to say, okay, backfill the gap, have some hesitation, pull back if necessary, and then on the second push back up through the bottom of zone 7, I wanted to buy at the market after I had a penetration of a close above the bottom of zone 7. Okay, so I'm going to turn that on, and then I'm going to show you the logic. So let me get over here. Bear with me just one moment. I've already programmed this, so I'm going to uncomment this particular order directive. And with any luck, it will show a trade at zone 7. Well, there it is. Let's expand that out. Okay. And let me tell you, I've got pyramiding studies. Let's go to edit strategies. I've got pyramiding turned on, properties for all. I've got allow up to 50 entry orders when the order is generated by a different entry order. I don't want a pyramid at the same level. And I've got that also programmed inside the code. So, but to be on the safe side, let's just make sure we do that. When the order is generated by a different entry order. Now I think about it, it would enter at the same level if you didn't have this selected. So go ahead and select that. Okay. Okay, let's show you the code that produced that trade. And because we're working within a framework, a lot of the 98% of the coding has been completed for you. You just need to program what the market needs to do in the terms of crossing these zones to generate a trade. Well, I wanted it to cross zone 7 bottom, and we did it right there. Crossing means was below and then now above. And then I wanted it to cross back below it, which it did here. And then I said, if it crosses back above it again, then I want to buy it. And as you can tell, it hesitates. It tries its best to cross above bottom of zone 7. And finally it did. And then I bought it. And let me show you the code for that. Having fun with Camarilla. And this is going to be the zone trader nomenclature. It's easy language, of course, but it's got a lot of my keywords built in, or words I've reserved. Okay, it's pretty simple. If day open zone is Z8, zone 8, which it was, and of course you'd have to learn this nomenclature, but my manual is pretty concise, and not concise, but it's pretty, well, it is concise. It's only 35 pages long. Well, it sounds only 35. It sounds like a large tome, but it's not. But it's pretty specific. So it says, okay, if day open zone is in Z8, which it was, and below R4, which it is, we call it R4, resistance 4, and the last 3 level crossings, last 3 lev, that could be last 2 lev, last 1 lev, and here's my nomenclature, and it's got to be a string, and it's always got to end with a comma. That's the key. I wanted to zone 7 bottom cross above, Z7 bottom, C cross A above, which it did right there. And then I wanted it to cross below, Z7 bot CB, zone 7 bottom cross below, which we did right there. And then I said I want it to cross above again, the bottom of zone 7. And finally it did that right there. So I generated a signal right there. This code generated that trade signal within my framework. And what I want to make sure is that I don't buy in zone 0 again. You know what, that should be, that's wrong. It should be 7. My bad. Zone 7 more than once a day. So once I do go at the market, I set my zone 7 buy, which is an array, to make sure it's 0 to start with. It can't have a number in there other than 0. So once I buy it, I do my trade directive, and then I go ahead and I set that zone Z7 buy. This is just an index into the zone array to it plus 1. So it was 0. I add 1 to it, it becomes 1. So next time it hits this code, zone array Z7 buy subscript will not be 0, it will be 1. And that will prevent it from trading. So I had pyramiding turned on when only when the trade was generated by a different trade signal. I think this would keep that from happening, but just be on the safe side, just do that for this experiment. Okay, so that's the first buy signal. Now what I want to do, this is you know, you don't know this until after the fact. So I'm doing this with the benefit of hindsight. This actually turned into what we call a trend day. It opens up near the low and it closes near the high, and it's a pretty wide range bar. So this is a trend day. So what I want to do now, just for fun and giggles, let's go ahead and take this off. I want to go ahead and buy again as the market moves through these zones. I'm pyramiding. So as long as it's moving through these zones, I want to continue buying. So I want to buy when the market crosses the top. And I'm not going to use bottom anymore in my nomenclature. It's always going to be the top. There's only one bottom, and that's zone 7 bottom. This is zone 7 top, zone 6 top, zone 5 top, zone 4 top, and so on. So I want to buy when the market crosses above zone 7 top. So let's see if we can, if my code works. So I'm going to go ahead off to the side here. You can't see it. We're going to see if we can buy in zone 6. We should, because the market was below zone 7 top, and then it crossed zone 7 top. Remember, we're only using words top. We're only using the word top now, not bottom. So let's see if it does. That's my phone. Let me pause real quick. Sorry about that. I had to pick up the phone. Okay, so my code worked. I bought on the open after the cross of zone 7 top. No bottom, 7 top. Right there, 7 top, zone 7 top. So let me show you the code that did that. Okay, we've got that. That's for the zone 8 open, and we crossed from the into the 7 zone. That's what bought that. So let's add the second piece of the puzzle here. Copy. Paste that. Okay, now here I was looking at the last 3 crossings, the last 3 levels. Here I'm just, I'm just saying, okay, if I cross above the top of 7, I'm only interested in 1 level. I had 3 here. They were separated by commas, as you can see, so that has to be 3. Here, I'm only looking at 1 level crossing, or 1 crossing, and it's going to be Z7. If I cross above it, which means I was below it, and now I'm above it, and zone array 7 Z6 buy is 0, which I haven't purchased in that zone yet today. I'm going to go ahead and buy at zone 6, and I'm going to call this a breakout long instead of a counter trend long. That was up, down, back up. That was a counter trend, the zone 7. Zone 6 is going to be a breakout. And you can name this anything you wanted to. Just be consistent with your naming. So I'm going to go ahead and turn zone 6 off by adding a 1 to it in the array. Okay. Now, for laughs and giggles, I want to go ahead and buy in when we cross into zone 4. Zone 5, as you can tell, I would like to go ahead and go into zone 5. And let's see if that would work. So we do have a cross into 5 into zone 4, but I think since this bar crosses the top and the bottom of zone 5, it will ignore it. So let's see if it does. Okay, we did it. We had a crossing. We had a double crossing. We double crossed the top of zone 5, zone 6, and the top of zone 5. So my code to execute a trade in zone 5 is not being used. Let me show you why. If the last 1 level is zone 6 top cross above, that's between support 2 and support 1, and we haven't purchased in zone 5, then go ahead and buy in zone 5. Well, in this case, the situation that occurred was we had a double cross. Okay, so my last 1 lev will not read Z6 top CA, it'll read Z5 top CA. And let's see if that's the case. There we go. I bought, once we crossed the top of zone 5, I bought in zone 4 buy, and I'll show you what that looks like. The code's getting long. Let me go ahead and make it so you can see the whole thing. Okay. Let's separate this a little bit. Here is the last zone that we just generated. If I cross above zone 5, top cross above, and it's the last crossing, last 1 crossing, I'm going to buy in zone 4. And zone 4, if it's already been bought in, I will not buy, but in this case it hasn't been bought in today. So let's see, did that work? My zone 4 bought, BOL, and there it is. Okay. We're on a roll now. Let's go ahead and let's add some more code here. Okay, let's go ahead and add crossing into zone 3. Let's see what happens. And I did something wrong. Bear with me 1 second. I had checked 1 bit of code. I had made 1 error. And here is the zone 3 breakout long. Okay, this is zone 4. Zone 4 is pretty wide. Here's the midpoint, which is between zone 3 bottom and zone 5 top. So we closed above zone 3, crossed it right here. So we bought it zone 3, and that's our fourth pyramid right there. Let's do another. Oh, let me show you the code real quick. So we did this Z4BOL. And let's show you what this looks like. Copy. You're kind of getting the hang of this, I'm sure. And of course, this is a really dummy down version of the Zone Trader, because you can have up to 32 crossings during the day, and you can access all those different crossings. So here's last one lev is equal to Z4 top CA, zone 4 top, cross above. I'm in zone 1 and 0, support zones. And I haven't purchased in zone 3. I'm going to buy zone 3 on a breakout. I'm going to make sure I don't buy in zone 3 again, because I'm adding 1 to that number, so it won't be equal to 0. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the code for you. And show you this trend day. So we bought in zone 3, we bought in zone 2, and we finally bought in zone 1. And so that's a pretty good day there. So let's go ahead and squish this down a little bit so you can see what happened during the remainder of the day. And lo and behold, this was really truly a trend day. So we got out of all of our positions. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positions. So let's view Strategy Performance Report, which I haven't looked at this yet. So I'm not sure what it's going to look like. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, this is exactly what would happen because it keeps trying to buy those different, when it's gapped way down like that. And it keeps getting hammered. But eventually it takes off. And this is day 6. This trade by itself, which was what, 10:06? Starting here, going all the way down to here. Oh, 10:60, sorry about that. Made 3,600, 3,200, 3,000. So it went from, what was it, -16. So it made, what, $17,000? That can't be right. 6, let's see, 7, 10, 12, 5, 15. Yeah, $17,000 on one trade. And so that's fun with Camarilla. Now, I just wanted to show you the nomenclature, and let me copy the rest of it here. You kind of get the idea of how this works. I stopped at zone 4. I'm going to go to zone 3, 2, and 1. Zone 3 and 2. That's right. Tops of them, but they're zone 2 and 1. I'm going to paste it. Okay. So with my framework, you can buy that at georgepruitt.com if you like. You can use your terminology such as this here and just make sure, use this same structure. You can do all kinds of different things among these zones. And I am buying and selling on, shorting on the open of the crossing bar. I've got a version I'm working on where you could actually place limit orders or stop orders as well. But I haven't finished that yet. So that's going to be the next edition of the Zone Trader. So that's the Camarilla. That's how you use the Camarilla. And this was just a fun trend day, and I wanted to show you how to take advantage of that. That doesn't happen all the time. See, a lot of times what happens is, here's where I don't care about the crossings. I buy in zone 4, and then I buy again in zone 2, and then I get stopped out. I buy in zone 3. So this by itself, you'd have to protect these trades by saying, okay, I want to make sure I open in a certain zone. Okay, here's a zone 2, zone 3. This looks like it could be, you're buying on a pullback, buying on a pullback, buying on a pullback, and then you get stopped out. And I'm not limiting the number of trades that you can do per day. So here you just, and I didn't have a sell component, a sell short component, but you could have that. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Again, this is having fun with Camarilla, and wouldn't it be great if we had trend days all the time? Again, email me at george.p.pruitt@gmail.com or visit georgepruitt.com, www.georgepruitt.com. Thank you.